I was very tough with my people, and my expectation of my team was very high. And I felt like if I can work very hard and I can be so consistent and persistent, why is my team not able to do this? But I think that was a lesson. At that point of time, there was a situation in a family where I had to take a little bit of a step back. And it also gave me a time to do some reflection. And kind of, in a way, that step back helped me to bounce back strongly. And I thought, like, how to be a better manager. I'm a Vedanta follower. And I like this, one of the important concept of Vedanta, which I often talk about, is Vasundhaiva Kutumbakam, meaning the world is one family. So I now don't just consider when I'm working, I just don't think about myself. I think about my team, my company, my society, my country, and the world. How can I add? And basically, how can you leave a better place? So in a summary, I would like to say that sometimes we hear that leaders are born. No, but from the story, small story I said, I was not a born leader. It was a process and a journey. Every time I kept learning, I kept improving. A lot of observation, a lot of learning. And if you're talking of Make in India, I would say innovate in India, because you can fail in simulation online, virtually, and keep innovating and try and fail. Whereas startup or a new company will take ages to make a prototype and fail in the field or at the customer end and take the feedback and improve the product design. And this is a very, very brand depreciating or expensive or a long process. Why is that we don't have an Apple in it? Why is that we don't have a Tesla in India? Of course, now our Indian auto OEMs coming up. Of course, India is not known as a product company. India is known as a services country, and we need to change that. Because of the previous example which I gave of an auto OEM, where all the electrification and ADAS for an auto OEM is happening in India, and all the innovation is happening here in India, why can't India have a deep tech or hardware or product startups? So I think I'm very happy and very excited, and this is where I'm personally spending a lot of my time and investing a lot of my time mentoring and educating the startup ecosystem to invest in deep tech startup. In fact, 2 weeks back, we with CII and Government of Karnataka did a startup event in Bangalore, highly successful one, where we call multiple VCs also. Hey guys, look at these smart guys and kind of technologies it is happening. So I have a written down purpose of my life. So when people say oh, I'm having a problem with life and work balance, I don't have that situation or a problem. Humility say that I have a very clear written down purpose of my life, which I had written in 2003, still valid. Or say something over here, I have 3 hobbies. One which will help you to take money. I love my job, so I take my job, which is the purpose of my life, which helps you to make money. Second hobby, you should keep you in shape, which is my and fitness walking stuff. And one which keeps you creative. That's I think I would say I'm very, very blessed. I have got a very, very supportive, smart and educated wife. We intellectually gel very well. I think that is one of the reasons why we got together. Very, very supportive family. I ensure that I end up giving quality time.
Planet better than what you found when you came to this planet. Namaskar, hello and welcome to this special episode of IndiGlobal Talks that brings to you inspiring stories of inspiring individuals. IndiGlobal Talks is brought to you by IndiGlobal Media Network that takes innovation, collaboration and growth to the forefront. This is Sudhir Gautam CEO and Editor-in-Chief with IndiGlobal Media Network. Today, we are joined by a special guest who comes with over 3 decades of rich experience in the industry. He has dealt with several sectors, including technology and a leader in the modern and emerging technologies. He has worked with several reputed organizations, including the Tata Consultancy, PTC, Inc., and currently he is holding a key position as the Area Vice President, India and South Asia Pacific with one of the global simulation software company known as ANSYS Inc. He is known for several other things. He is passionate about developing local research talent in India. He works closely with top academia, mentoring young students, professionals, and startup. And he's known for championing and evangelizing women in technology cause in India. And he has been part of several top national and international conferences. He's also a marathon runner, ornithologist, which is birding, and he always considers himself as a student for a lifelong learning. He's also a startup mentor. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Rafiq Somani, who is the Area Vice President for India and South Asia Pacific with ANSYS Inc. Welcome, Mr. Rafiq.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sudhir, for inviting me for this talk. And you and IndiGlobal is doing a fantastic job for the industry and academia. Yeah? Keep up all the good work. Yeah.
Thank you very much. First, over 3 decades of rich experience in the industry. Now you are in a prominent position in one of the information technology company. So before we get into the technical aspects of your professional life, would you like to share where were you born and brought up and what has been your academic background?
Thanks, Sudhir. So I think, first of all, I would consider myself as a Bombay boy. Of course, now for the last 10 years, I'm staying in Pune thanks to ANSYS, and I'm loving Pune because of its weather and greenery. So I was meaning brought up in Bombay because my mother is from Warangal, close to Hyderabad, and I was the first child. I was born technically on my passport in Warangal, but actually I've done my schooling, engineering and management studies in Mumbai. I studied in a local SSC board English school, and because we were from a very humble background, my father thought like, hey, enough, you've completed 10th grade, and I was almost a dropout. I had almost got a job as a shoe salesman in one of the shop, but I went back to my parents and I requested that I want to study, and I'm very happy my parents allowed me to complete my studies. And because I understood the reality of the humble background we are coming from, I took my education quite seriously, and I ended up completing computer science engineering from D.Y. Patil College of Engineering in New Bombay. I used to travel 2 hours up and down from a Malad suburb, not easy every day. And then once I got into industry, I felt like I need to hone my skills on the management side and understand a little bit of business, marketing, finance. And while I was still working, I completed my 3 years management course from a prestigious management institute called NMIS. So, the point I'm trying to tell to students, if they're listening, that first is never give up on your education. Whatever the crisis or situation you have, make sure you are at least a graduate. Make sure you kind of learn English, should be your base language in studies. And as you rightly said, I'm a lifelong learner. I still learn a lot from my mentees and students which I interact, and with all the academia institutes I work with. So, continue lifelong learning.
Amazing. Glad to know you are from Warangal, from the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh, now Telangana. Glad to know. Would you kindly take us through your professional journey, Mr. Rafiq, and what has been your learning till date? Now you are in a very prominent position as a area vice president for India and also South Asia Pacific. And
Yeah.
before that, I would also like to ask you, like, what was your driving force that kept you learning new skills, honing your skills, and to reach a higher position where you are now?
Okay, Sudhir. I think so when I finished my computer engineering in 89 and basically in the early 90s, computers was still very new in India, and there were hardly any good jobs available in computer science industry. And I did had a little bit of struggle to find a good job, but I said no. So I started as an intern at a computer boutique shop at Kalagoda in South Bombay. It was a kind of a computer store selling, PC and some printers, dot matrix printer and all. Very old days, 286 and 386 was the best computer you could find. And, I got pretty fascinated, working as an intern over there. And during my early part of that, and then I did so well that I got hired by Minicom Computers, which was the first. So that was my first proper job, and because I did so well as an intern at this computer boutique shop, that I got hired by Minicom. And I think during these two part of my career, I learned that, and I used to work very hard. I used to do maximum number of customer calls, and even in the step-in. Customer used to come in the boutique shop, I was the guy who used to say, "Hey, come customer, let me show you something." And while my other colleagues used to be relaxed and sitting, not entertaining the customer. So I was very inquisitive from my very early. And the thing I learned was there is no replacement to hard work. So in early part of my life, in my first two jobs, I basically did very well, and I was respected, and I did good business from my company because of my hard work. Then I learned to be a persistent, like not give up and keep working with the customer and showing the customer value to sell the technology. And, some of the good practices, then I joined TCS in the CAD-CAM group in Malad. And those were the time I was still working very hard. I became more persistent, but I was not working very smart. But when I joined PTC, which is a global CAD leader and a PLM leader, because of working with a lot of smart people, I learned that it is not necessary that you need to work very hard and being very, very persistent. Of course, that is the foundation, but how to work smarter also, how to get trained well. So I was fortunate to get good mentors and leaders in my PTC careers. And I started learning some good practices like strategic value selling and value addition to the customers. And I learned a lot of good things in that career. And then I was quickly, because of my very good foundation of hard work and persistence, and now becoming a little smarter, I was promoted to a manager very early in PTC. But I was not a very good manager. I was a very tough manager because, I came up in the ranks because of hard work and persistence. My expectation as a first leadership, I would say, was not good. I was very tough with my people, and my expectation of my team was very high. And I felt like if I can work very hard and I can be so consistent and persistent, why is my team not able to do this? But I think that was a lesson. At that point of time, there was a situation in a family where I had to take a little bit of a step back. And it also gave me a time to do some reflection. And kind of, in a way, that step back helped me to bounce back strongly. And I thought, like, how to be a better manager and better strategic manager, be a good leader, how to be humble. I learned about humility and how to manage people. I think because of, again, some of the good practices I learned, I started following, a concept called servant leadership, which is it's like you're a servant to your people, company, the society, and the culture, and you are also a leader. So I think over a period of time, my leadership style has changed, and and over the period of the learnings of my various things now at ANSYS, I try to follow. I'm still learning. I would not say I'm still learning how the leadership thinking, but I try to follow servant leadership. I do a lot of out of box thinking, what I call it's box three thinking. So I would say, level 5 leadership, servant leadership, like having strategy, vision, but with humility is very, very important. I like this. I'm a Vedanta follower, and I like this. One of the important concept of Vedanta, which I often talk about, is Vasundhaiva Kutumbakam, meaning the world is one family. So I now don't just consider when I'm working, I just don't think about myself. I think about my team, my company, my society, my country, and the world. How can I add, and basically how can you leave a better place? So in a summary, I would like to say that sometimes we hear that leaders are born. No, but from the story, small story I said, I was not a born leader. It was a process and a journey. Every time I kept learning, I kept improving. A lot of observation, a lot of learning, and a lot of humility, a lot of openness. Think again, ask why. Openness to learn, and drop your dogmas. Every year I ask myself, can I get the job which I'm having today in the same company? So I question myself, my beliefs. As you rightly said in the beginning, I'm a lifelong learner, and leadership is a process and a journey for me. Yeah, and I'm thankful to all the people I got in my journey in my life. Yeah.
Amazing. As you mentioned, this is something I'm come across for the first time. Servant leadership. Is it a book you came across, or it's some kind of training or a course?
Yes, I think it's a good question. I think we can deep dive. This is a topic close to my heart, and some places I do a presentation or topic on servant leadership. It is a concept introduced by Greenleaf. There's a book and multiple books on this. And if you look at, and I'm not saying I'm anywhere close. It's a reference point. If you look at servant leader, it's a paradox, correct? At one end you're saying you're a servant, and one end you're saying a leader. So it's a paradox, and you are always swinging between serving your company, your people, your country, your society, and whereas at tough times you have to give the strategy, direction, leadership, thought process, and so you're a trustee in the middle who's balancing. It's a tough leadership thing, and some reference point. I think this is an inspiring reference points for me to. I'm learning. I'm not saying I'm there, but like Jesus Christ, Nelson Mandela, Mahatma Gandhi, Starbucks CEO. These are some of the companies or some of the leaders who have followed, meaning having respect, people doing out of respect for you rather than out of your title and fear because XYZ is your CEO or VP, I should do it. That is the thing, whether people do things out of the respect because you work in the interest of everybody. In a very short, I know, of course, there are a lot of concepts and details about this details, but servant leadership or good to great. John Collins talk about level 5 leadership, which is will and humility, and servant leadership. Kind of a little bit similar, yeah. But it's a topic in itself, and I'll be happy to have a separate discussion with you on that.
We'll have an in-depth talk about that leadership part. Yeah. Now, as we talk about, you went on from becoming a tough taskmaster, a leader where you're dealing with your team with humility. And you're getting good results out of it?
100%. See, I think work with people, you are as good as your people. Once you have a good team, you respect and care, and in India, every 2 hours, the language changes, the food changes, the culture changes. So how do we understand your people, team working under you, and work with them and work with the interest of what is this guy trying to do in life? Is it he just working for money? What are his personal ambitions in life? What is his personal situation? And if we kind of understand and know all the details about an individual person, and every time you meet a person and fine-tune your discussion with that individual person into that aspect, then the person comes very close to you and feel connected to you very closely, and then he puts, end of the day, we are human beings, we work for people, and if once we make that connection with the team, they just do out of love and respect, and not that just because Rafiq is our area vice president we should do it. I think I'm very blessed to say that I've been able to have such a team and have that kind of relationship with my team, with my partners, and the ecosystem which I work in ANSYS. Yeah.
Great, Mr. Rafiq. Now, I would, since you have been there in the industry for last 30 plus years, we would like to take your perspective. How quick is our country, India, be it the government sector, the industry and academia, in adopting this emerging and simulation technology, and having to what extent they are integrating in their mainstream work?
Yeah, I think, Sudeep, this is a good question. First of all, I'm not talking of long back, but I think over the last, at least, as I said, I'm like in this industry for 30 years, and one of our earlier prime minister got the computers in India in the early 90s. And I think every year since then, government after government, and also the present government, is doing a fantastic job. We've been having, first of all, kudos to, since the time of independence, we had some great institutes started by our earlier leaders like IITs and ISCs and, all the defense lab. Whatever we are seeing, all the success today has come by the great leaders of our country much earlier. And the current government and state government is building on that and is doing a fantastic job in kind of taking that base foundation advantage to the next level. And there's a great collaboration between industry, government, and academia, which is very, very good to see. The current initiative on Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, or becoming self-reliant on semiconductor or in aerospace and defense. There is tremendous and great work happening on that. And not only the government, all the defense labs and all the top academia and institutes, but also the tier 2 institutes, state governments are taking a lot of skill development initiatives. ITIs are improving. All state governments, central governments, and academia are adopting all the emerging new technologies, including semiconductors and photonics and additive manufacturing and 5G and 6G. So I would say tremendous work is happening, and a lot of improvement is happening on this front, by the state government and the central government. Yeah.
We, as mentioned by the Prime Minister in the Parliament recently, that we are the 5th largest economy globally, and technology plays a very important role in the progress and development. How proactive are Indians? How proactive is there? A connection between, there is a good bridge between the academia, industry, as you also mentor several startups and you also mentor various students. Is there a strong bridge, or still there is a skill gap?
Yeah, so I think I would not say like there is a huge improvement. I've said like I'm giving a reference point of 30 years. There's a huge progress. Of course, we can't say like we are like in Germany or some advanced countries where the professor is wearing 2 caps. One is in academia cap and an industry cap, and a professor in Germany may do both the things simultaneously and is part of his KPI. But I would say these kind of stuff is already started happening in at least the top academias, including IITs, where now you see in a lot of the top IITs and tier 1 institutes and even autonomous, reputed colleges, engineering colleges, they have their center of excellence and incubation centers where they are having center of excellence on a lot of new technologies, and they are doing some industry project. IITs has been doing a lot of industry and defense project for several years, but this is improving and getting better. Of course, when you talk to industry, of course, I'm like kind of acting as an evangelist and a conduit between the two to work together. But when I talk to a lot of the industry CEOs, the industry CEOs still feel, oh no. I think the academia is good for research, and what if the student finishes PhD and I will just get a 1-year commitment, 2-year commitment, or the speed or the agility is not there. So I think these are some small hindrances, but not a major thing. It's an area of improvement, so the industry should not have a dogma that academia is slow and they will not get a long-term commitment. No, but if you go back to academia, they are trying to improve and accelerate and give long-term commitments with a multiple batch of students, not only just kind of one PhD student doing one project and dropping the project midway. So I think things are happening. I would recommend that the industry needs to be more open. While academia has accelerated quite dramatically in the last few years, I would give a lot of credit to academia over here. And again, a lot of push from central and local government that is there, and it is needed. Yeah.
So
I'm very positive.
Great. So here we come to know through you that academia is looking forward to the industry, and they wanted that collaboration between industry, academia, hands-on training. But industry has to look at them where they can get that skilled workforce. You can train them.
Yeah, but there is one still problem which is lying, which is a long-term problem and cannot be fixed overnight with the new education policy. The curriculum sometimes, in engineering is kind of a lot of rote learning, and we kind of, if India is producing 25% of world's engineering, 1.25 million engineers, it should not become a factory of producing engineers. The industry is saying, hey, you know what, Rafiq, I take about 6 to 9 months, sometimes 12 months to train these fresh engineers, and they may be able to do a colorful simulation plot, but they don't understand the physics and engineering behind, because they kind of rote learned it. And there is a need to kind of, and again, both industry and academia has to come together and come out with some improvement in the curriculum and come out with hybrid or a sandwich courses, which kind of make students ready to be a plug and play to the industry as soon as they graduate out, which is a problem, which is an area of improvement for all of us, for the government, for academia, for the industry. And the industry cannot blame the academia or government over here. I think it's a journey where everybody has to work together. ANSYS is doing our bit. I think we've been acting as a catalyst over here, trying to come out with several sandwich courses, online courses, and I'm very happy that a lot of modern, when I say modern, meaning forward-looking academia, are adopting these kind of new technologies and enabling their students with industry-ready technologies, like 5G and digital twins and electrification and ADAS. We are talking about all the new trends in the market, whereas there might not be particular degree courses, or students are not taught about these new technologies, or they are missing on the hardcore engineering and physics concept. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Rafiq, you are in the leadership position in one of the global simulation technology company, ANSYS. How critical is this simulation technology, and which all sectors are making the best of this technology, and what is its role in the progress and development of any?
Okay, I think I could understand there were 3 questions in that. Let me try to break the questions. So I think, first of all, the role of simulation is, very, very important and very, very critical to the industry. And if you're talking of Make in India, I would say innovate in India, because you can fail in simulation online, virtually, and keep innovating and, try and fail. Whereas startup or a new company will take ages to make a prototype and fail in the field or at the customer end and take the feedback and improve the product design. This is a very, very brand depreciating or expensive or a long process. Very clearly, a pandemic has shown when people could not go at the shop floor and they had to still design products. People were starting, and we kind of gave a lot of HPC power and licenses our for customer to do virtual product development and virtual validation and prototyping rather than physical, and of course the physical prototypes may be required for compliance or regulatory or approval reason, but I think you can avoid making multiple products. So very clearly, if you want to innovate, you want to cut down cycle time, you want to be a reliable product, cost efficient product, highly quality product, simulation will be the gold standard and a superpower for all product development companies. Now, that is one part of your question. The second part is which industries? Well, clearly automotive, all the automotive OEMs, tier 1, tier 2 suppliers, especially now with electrification where safety becomes very, very important. Aerospace and defense, all labs, all projects of aerospace defense in India and globally. This is the second. Industrial engineering, pumps, motors, consumer industries, semiconductor, high-tech industry. These are some of the top industry. Healthcare industry using ANSYS technology very, very well and very, very efficiently and leveraging it through and through. In fact, India is becoming the simulation capital, and the government, and we should not forget that yes, we are IT capital and BPO capital, but I think there are thousands and thousands of engineers working for global companies like Honeywell and GE and Bosch, and I can mention dozens and dozens of names. Example, I don't want to name an auto OEM which makes all the IC engine in their headquarter country, but all the ADAS and electrification work happens in India. So you can imagine all the future simulation work for global companies and auto OEMs and the aerospace companies is happening out of India. So India should focus on becoming a simulation capital, which it is already, but I think it should be made more vocal and aware to have more job opportunities available for India, for engineers passing out.
Glad to know India is a simulation capital, as you mentioned. Just to coming to the startup world, many of the startups have come up, be it the blockchain technology or many other emerging technologies or artificial intelligence. Based on these technologies, several startups have come up and they are doing well. A couple of companies are doing very well. Where does the startup world stand in terms of simulation technology?
Oh, very good question. I think until few years back, I was a little dejected that the startup world, and actually the fault is for the investment or VC community also. They were mostly focusing on fintech and B2C and software technology startup. I respect that, and we have a lot of great stories, and we should continue to do that. But the VCs were not very well educated or not investing in their deep tech or hardware startup. Correct? This is where ANSYS and the simulation world is applicable. When I say deep tech and hardware startup, why is that we don't have an Apple in it? Why is that we don't have a Tesla in India? Of course, now our Indian auto OEMs coming up. Of course, India is not known as a product company. India is known as a services country, and we need to change that because of the previous example which I gave of an auto OEM, where all the electrification and ADAS in auto OEM is happening in India, and all the innovation is happening here in India. Why can't India have a deep tech or hardware or product startups? So I think I'm very happy and very excited, and this is where I'm personally spending a lot of my time and investing a lot of my time mentoring and educating the startup ecosystem to invest in deep tech startup. In fact, 2 weeks back, we with CII and Government of Karnataka did a startup event in Bangalore, highly successful one, where we call multiple VCs also. Hey guys, look at these smart guys and kind of technologies it is happening. So because the deep tech startup, the VCs will look for a prototype, which is very expensive effort for a startup. But if they see a virtual prototype, which is validated in real life, then the VC can invest and can bet on that. So I think I'm very excited about a lot of things. I'm very excited. There are at least more than 200 deep tech startups in automotive, especially in electrification, aerospace and defense, healthcare, climate, sustainability. These are some startups, including quantum computing startup where simulation technologies is used. And I'm very, very excited. These things have started happening in the last few years, and I'm very, very excited about the positive trend. Yeah.
Amazing, Mr. Rafiq. Glad to know the simulation technology is in the startup world is doing well. And where do you see this technology adoption in the coming years?
Yeah, I think I will kind of sum it up in the way I was answering my previous question, because there is a huge adoption of all the new technologies. So if you look at what are the disruptive technologies which are happening globally, from the hardware and deep tech side, is the electrification, ADAS, 5G, 6G technologies, healthcare, semiconductor, so a lot of adoption. When these industries follow, naturally the other industries will also adopt. So I'm seeing a huge positive trend, adoption of simulation technologies, and with ANSYS providing AI ML tool, which were already there in our technology, and now just that it has become a buzzword. But I think our customer are leveraging the AI ML technologies available in ANSYS simulation technologies also. Yeah, so very positive trend. Yeah.
Amazing. Mr. Rafiq, you see this technology advancement, and I see you are also director in one of the banks, DCB banks, and I also see you are into mentoring startups, students. How do you strike a balance, and how do you take up time?
Yeah, so I think going back, talk you already spoke about, my job is not easy. It's pretty stressful. But I know how to strike a balance. Coming back, how do I relax myself? I'm very, very fond of nature, because I was a Boy Scout in my early years, and I've done a lot of scouting camps. So I got very attracted by nature, and followed up by, I got very interested in birds, and I'm a trained ornithologist. And of course, I kind of, to stay fit, I kind of do running and walking. I read a lot of books, lifelong learning. There are multiple levels in Audibles, at least 5 levels. With humility, I can say I'm at a master level, and I finish at least 3 to 4 minimum books a month. So I'm always learning on varied topics. I travel a lot. She's a writer, and I take pictures. So we have a blog site. And as you earlier said, I do mentor. I love mentoring students. I say there is a selfish reason also. No, not selfish reason. I learned a lot from youngsters. I say a mentee makes a mentor. I don't know whether that quote is there, but I think I came out with this point, or term, a mentee makes a mentor. The mentee, a student or a startup CEO takes out the best out of you, and in the process you are also reflecting upon what are the ideas and thoughts and discussion you're having with that student or startup. So I think I learned a lot in the process. So all these things kind of keeps me very positive. But coming a little bit, getting a little bit philosophical, I have a written down purpose of my life. So when people say oh, I am having a problem with life and work balance, I don't have that situation or a problem. Humility say that I have a very clear written down purpose of my life, which I've written in 2003, still valid. And I like to have a healthy balance between, as I said, like whatever activities I do, between my personal and professional life. And because all of these are aligned to the larger purpose of my life, and what I said, that it is not just how can I leave this world better place than what I got. This is what Robert Baden-Powell, the founder of the Scouts and Guide movement, had mentioned: leave this world a better place than you found it. So that is there in my mind since the childhood. So I try to work to contribute something at a greater thing, not only for myself, my organization, my people, the society, the country, and the world at large. As I said about my Vedanta quote, that the world is one family. And I feel blessed to kind of, in a summary, I did say a lot of stuff, but I would like to quote or say something over here. I have 3 hobbies. One which will help you to make money, I love my job, so I take my job, like, which is the purpose of my life, which helps you to make money. Second hobby you should keep you in shape, which is my and fitness walking stuff, and one which keeps you creative. So you have three hobbies: one to make money, one to keep you in shape, and one to be creative. And the kind of things we discuss, helps me in all three of those things which you asked. So I feel blessed that I'm able to balance out, yeah, and I don't have any complaints over that.
Glad to know. I see, as you mentioned, Vasudeva Kutumbakam, you believe and practice that, and there seems to be a spiritual side of yours. And if I'm not wrong, you also run a foundation. Would you like to tell about it?
Yeah, so I don't run a foundation. I have been, like, for the past, I think since I said no, since I started my scouting and guiding, so maybe all my 50 years plus, I've been associated with this foundation called Aga Khan Foundation. Various capacities. When I was younger, I used to have official volunteer post, including being a chairman of the Aga Khan Education Wing, which had more than 10,000 students across India, 10 schools in some of the remote parts of India providing quality education. So I've gone into all interior villages of India, Naxalite areas, and Aga Khan Foundation providing quality English education to people who didn't had access to education, but they were as talented as any a kid in South Bombay. So one is that. Then I was chairman for the Economic Planning Board for Aga Khan Foundation for India chapter. My job was to make sure how to improve the quality of the life and people who are economically lower standard. How do we have multiple sources and have different programs so that they're self-reliant and don't fall into the lower income bracket. So I think then now, since I moved to ANSYS, I'm a little bit very busy to take up any official post. Again, all those posts were all volunteer posts. So I've taken a step back and I'm more like a mentor to a lot of students. And I keep doing a lot of, of course, I'm an independent director at a listed bank. I'm also a board of director at one of the incubation foundation, one of the IITs, also a governing body of one of the university in North. So I try to give my time and inputs back to society in different forms. Still, I would love to do more, but my first priority is my job. Official timing, I do all that. Whatever my spare time I get, I'm not into partings, and I'm not into social media, and I'm not into television watching except for cricket. So I get a lot of. I optimize time management is key. Weekends or holidays are as packed. Those are time to give back. Brush on my creative skill, birding, taking kids out for bird walks, mentoring, doing other stuff. Yeah. So I think it's exciting. Yeah.
Amazing. If we, I'm keen to understand, if we pull out a leaf out of your routine days, how would it be starting from morning to the end? And how supportive is your family or your life partner? And how do you manage your kids? How do you give time to your family?
Okay, that's like, I think I would say I'm very, very blessed. I have got a very, very supportive, smart and educated wife. We intellectually gel very well. I think that is one of the reasons why we got together. Very, very supportive family. I ensure that I end up giving quality time to my family, especially on the weekends. And when I'm not traveling, I travel a lot, at least 10 to 15 days a month. But when I'm not traveling, at least post office hours and the weekends, I try to make sure I am giving quality time to my family. My day, actually, working day is also very tough because I manage a territory, ASEAN and ANZ, which starts before India. So a lot of times I start my calls with my partners and my team members early in the morning before 9 a.m. And my management and corporate office is in US. So I take a lot of evening calls also. Like yesterday, I was doing a late evening call with my head office. So it is, time-wise, it's also tough. But as I said, it's a time management and having a purpose of life. If you have a purpose of life, you will know how to manage. Of course, you can't compromise on the work because you're responsible for your work first. You have to meet your targets. You have to make sure your people are successful. So that is the priority. But if you have a purpose of life, you're very clear and you don't have any side. I always say to my team, when you go in a jungle to shoot an elephant, hypothetically, you don't want to shoot an elephant. The ants will keep trying to bite you, and if you start killing the ants, the elephant will go away. The point is, in life there are a lot of things in your life which will suck away your hours. You open a social media, it will suck your hours. You open a television, it will suck up your hours. I don't have those ants in my life, and I'm conscious about that.
Okay, amazing. So glad to know, Mr. Rafiq. Glad you shared your journey, and there are many takeaways to our viewers. And we look forward to hear from you more, and maybe we'll interact more to get deeper into various specific sectors. And would there be any message for students or our viewers who come from varied sectors before we sign off?
Yes, Sudhir, I think that's a very tough one too. I can mention a lot of things, but I think from whatever I said, I think there are 7 billion people in this world, and do you want to be one of them, or do you want to create an impact and live a meaningful life? Not just work for yourself, but work for a larger cause. And if you have that thought process in your mind, I think the universe conspires and helps you to do and achieve a lot of things, because then people see, oh, you know what, he's not a selfish guy and he's just looking for his interest. And then people start working with you, collaborating with you, supporting you, helping you. Things starts happening. I think we have to come out with this, polarized mindset, or one way or my way, or this is my thought. I said, I always think again. Keep checking, why not? What is the perspective on what that guy is saying? Am I learning something new? Can I break my dogmas? I think if we have that kind of attitude and approach in the life, as I said, towards lifelong learning, I think, things can be better for everybody. Have a purpose in life. Just don't be a passenger in this world. Yeah?
Amazing. So message is have a larger purpose in life, so that we just not be a passenger, but do something important and leave the planet better than what you found when you came to this planet. Amazing. So
exactly.
That's
good summary. Good summary.
So Rafiq Somani, who's the area vice president for India and South Asia Pacific, one of the leading technology company, ANSYS Inc., who is also a marathon runner, ornithologist, student, lifelong learner, and also a mentor. So thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Rafiq, for taking out time. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me.
So this was Mr. Rafiq Somani, who have joined us for this special exclusive interview, IndiGlobal Talks by IndiGlobal Media Network. Till the time we join back and come to you with yet another inspiring leader with their inspiring story. This is Sudhir Gautam signing off till the next episode. Thank you very much.